Yeah, when we had Eric on a Friday night, and
this past Friday.
No. This was a few months ago.
Yeah,
and we had him on a Friday night, and he came in, and we did that, and we were like, oh man, he hates us.
Yeah,
he absolutely hates us, because like he came in, he's like, oh, I got about 35-40 minutes, and we were like, okay, cool, like in and out, and then about 15 minutes in, he's like, oh no, I don't even like the company that we have.
We can hang out.
Like, we don't. This gives me an excuse not to deal with them.
That's awesome.
He made us win him. He
I just did the worst podcast with him, I felt like, ever. Like, we did a watch along this morning, and it was so slow and terrible matches. And he's like, Paul, we took a break. He's like, we got to pick this up. There's too much dead air. We're watching this. People aren't going to want to listen to this. Like, we got to talk more. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, I don't even know what to talk about during this shit we're watching. Oh, it's brutal.
Talk about what matches you wish you were watching.
Yeah, right. We should have. We should have just thrown a whole comedy bit out of it. Oh.
Just start dissecting Savage Steamboat from WrestleMania 3 and every other match.
Let's pull up a different Nitro, mid-Nitro.
Sure, this is the shark here on the screen, but wasn't Savage Steamboat just the best?
Bigot! Bigot is my podcast! Bigot! Bigot is my... Bigot! Bigot is my podcast! Bigot! Bigot is my...
That was cool. Hi.
What's going on?
Welcome
once again
to the show
that gives you
every single time,
no matter what,
even on Sundays,
every Sunday, but on Mondays,
the tingles
inside your...
Is this a family show?
I just want to see how long we could go.
Oh, no. Okay. What's up, guys? Welcome to Bacon is My Podcast. I am Mike. He is Jimmy. And today, we're going to talk a little bit of wrestling about somebody who talks a lot about wrestling. We got Paul Bromwell from adfreeshows.com.
Yeah.
He can be heard every once in a while on the main feeds of 83 Weeks, Grill and JR, Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard. I mean, the list goes on and on. Kurt Angle Show, all the Conrad Thompson content that comes out. Sometimes he gets the hot tag, and he's the guy leading the way.
He becomes the host,
and he's also hosting a few shows over on adfreeshows.com.
Mm-hmm.
The show X-Ray with Tom Prichard.
We got Monday Mailbag with Mike Chioda.
Chioda. We'll use that for year 2.
Yep.
Stuff. I got to remember that. Note. Rebels Happy Hour.
Yep.
So, yeah, we got Paul Bromwell on. We talk about a lot of stuff, and it'll be a good time.
Yeah, stuff and things. He's a good dude. He was a lot of fun to talk to. It's cool to talk. It's been cool to talk to a few podcasters lately.
Yeah.
It's been fun to kind of like not even compare notes, but just kind of get in the world of and find out
Pick
that
their brain.
Yeah, like we're all kind of figuring it out as we go along, which is
right.
funny.
There's not necessarily
even on the level
formula.
that he's on. You know what I mean? It's like
There's not necessarily a formula. It's just feeling things out.
Yeah.
And that's why here we are, a little over a year later, still feeling things out.
Feeling it out.
Speaking of feeling out, if you like to feel us out a little more.
What? Go with it.
No, I'm going with it.
All right.
I mean, you're interrupting me.
I'm sorry.
If you want to feel us out a little more, go to patreon.com.
He said patreon.com
/ Bacon is My Podcast.
Bacon is My Podcast.
And you can get heapings more feeling out of us.
A bushel full.
You can see as we feel out cooking
Yeah.
different things. You could see as we feel out live streaming movies. You can see as we feel out
making some music.
And
playing some music.
And
eating stuff.
Eating gross things.
You can watch us eat gross things or delicious things.
Yeah.
Delicious things like Wild Bills and Grill Your Ass Off.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, go over there. Help us out. Helps the show out a lot. And big shout out to our BIMP squad members who are already there.
Absolutely.
Much appreciated.
You keep this show free. You keep this show going. It is a huge help. So thank you guys very much.
Yeah. And also our sponsors.
Yeah.
Poddex, grillyourassoff.com, drinkwildbills.com. All of them, promo code is bacon.
Yeah. And
you get 10% off all of their orders. So drinkwildbills.com, grillyourassoff.com, poddex.com. And yeah, man, what do you say we get into some wrestling?
Let's do it. When do you want to start?
Right about, wait for it, now.
Now.
Why do you always have to have the last one? Now.
Now.
No, now.
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 I'm editing this one. So now.
Then.
That one's getting cut out. Now. Yes!
All right. So, you know, we just played the fair, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw our new sponsor next to us at the fair.
Right.
Right? Any of you that have ever been to festivals, you know one of the coolest spots to go to is that spot that's selling you sodas where the copper mugs.
Oh, they're the best.
Wild Bills, dude.
Yes. And you don't just have to go to a fair to get their stuff anymore. You can go to drinkwildbills.com and they'll send it right to your house.
They sent that ginormous box to us.
Huge box of stuff, and it made me realize that Wild Bills isn't just soda.
Yeah, I thought it was at first, but man, the like jerky and
nuts and coffee.
Oh man, snack foods, coffee, everything.
And if you go there now, drinkwildbills.com, use the promo code BACON, of course, and you get 10% off.
Oh, dude, check it out. Stick with us because we're going to be letting you know how that coffee tastes. We're going to be doing some tasting episodes on literally everything in the box.
Yes.
So stick with us. But, dude, you've had it. You've been at fairs. I've bought it. I bought that mug. It's awesome. I love it.
And now, again, we're heading into the winter months. It's going to get a little colder. No more fairs. Just have it delivered right to your door.
Drinkwildbills.com.
Yeah.
Easy for me to say. Once. Check it out. Promo code BACON.
Hi, everybody. I am Eric Bischoff, and you're listening to Bacon is My Podcast.
What's up, everybody? There's my...
There it is.
My radio voice.
There it is. His radio voice. He just did it.
But it's not nearly as good as the voice of the gentleman on the show today.
No, not nearly.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have ad-free show contributor... host, backup,
hot tag getter.
He calls me the protege.
The protege.
The protege.
He does. Yeah.
I like that. The protege to Conrad Thompson, the Podfather. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Bromwell. What's going on, sir?
Guys, Mike and Jimmy G, I'm just happy to be here on Bacon is My Podcast. Man, this is awesome. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on. This is
thank you for joining us.
This is cool for us.
Cheers.
Sure. Cheers. That's right.
Hanging with a fellow podcaster is always a lot of fun because
we learn stuff.
Yeah, we learn stuff for sure. For sure.
Because we don't know anything that we're doing.
Neither do I.
So
fake it till you make it, right?
And hey, that's what we found from a lot of the people that we've spoken to. We've been like, all right, how did you do this? What'd you get? And they're like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just kind of hanging out.
Now, like, so for me, this is my second podcast. The first I had like a internet radio show with some friends, and then my wife, and now with Jim has been a longtime friend of mine. How is it for you to like just hop in and like Conrad go, hey, here's Eric Bischoff. Oh, hey, you're gonna get a bi-weekly show with Mike Chioda. Oh, here's Tom Prichard. He's gonna dissect wrestling matches. Is that cool? Like, How do you process that?
It's like, crazy, dude. It's crazy. Lately, I'm telling you, like some of this stuff is like for the main feeds, like even with Bruce Prichard, who I just today recorded a second time ever with him. It's usually been, hey, tomorrow at the first show I ever did was with Jim Ross, and this was in January, and he was like 10 o'clock at night. Hey, tomorrow at 8 o'clock, I'm gonna need you to record with JR. Huh? Hey, what the fuck are you? Who? Jim fucking Ross? I'm like falling off my couch, and this is through text. My heart's racing. What show are we watching? What is happening right now? But literally, I have those moments when I first recorded with Bruce Prichard, and I was Levi, Larry, and everybody else.
Yeah,
I had sweat beads on my forehead, thanking God that it was audio only and not on video.
Well, you were also in a closet.
Yeah,
I was in a closet
for that one. So
I was literally in a closet for that in Myrtle Beach. So,
have you ever forgiven him for disrupting your dinner?
No, you guys are paying attention. I love it. He had all fucking day. My family's at the beach while I laid on the couch waiting for his call. And it's taco night. I'm about ready to wrap up the burrito. Hey, I'm ready. Oh, Jesus. Okay. I ran in there in my underwear. Let's do this because I knew it was video only. I mean, or audio only. But man, yes, it's been surreal, and it's come so fast and heavy and quick that I haven't had really any time to process it. And it's just been like, and fortunately for my shoot job, I've had to get up and talk in front of people for a few years and have been put on the spot a little bit. And so I have a little bit of that to rely on in terms of experience, but you still are not fully prepared for what it's like to be on with guys that you've watched on TV, you followed since you were a kid, and you're going to have to get on a mic. And oh, by the way, you're filling in for Conrad fucking Thompson, dude. So this guy's like he's a host. There's a lot of hosts. Right. He's a star just like them. He is a star. People hate me because I'm not him. He and I laugh about it. He's like, dude, there's nothing you can do. Don't read social media. Don't read the posts. You're just not me. And I love it when they're like, I hate Bromwell's voice. Oh, so let me get this right. You love the Southern guy's twangy voice? Is that what you're saying? But they just love him. They just love him. Yeah, that's what it is. So
he's a personality, you know. Yeah. He's a personality. Well, he's an established personality also.
Well, I think them putting you out a bit more too is it. Again, people know him. They know his stories. He'll add personal things into whatever it is that's happening. So same with you. It's just it's a matter of people.
He can bust balls too. I can't. He can bust Bruce Prichard's balls because he's earned that level with the audience to be able to do that. If I come in Joe Schmo off the street and try to be cool and try to bust Bruce Prichard's balls, people are going to be like, who's this idiot? Who's this guy think he is? How do you establish those relationships before I can get there?
Yeah, that's an interesting point because I've felt that a couple times on our show too, when we've had to or gotten to interview someone that like a band that we both really like or a professional wrestler or somebody where all we do is bust each other's balls.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like part of our friendship and all that stuff. But then it's like you're talking to somebody and just on the regular, I'm pretty like, I don't think about the words that are about to come out of my mouth and they just happen. And so it's like you have to think about that every now and then and go, ooh, is this okay? Is this all right to do? Can I do that?
And he's been doing it for so many years. So how do you just slide in and have that comfortability with them and still put on a good show when you have hundreds of thousands of listeners that want to hear about wrestling content and not come off sounding like some half-cocked asshole? So I have people DMing me, you need to bust their balls more like Conrad does. Buddy, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm making sure I'm pronouncing Bischoff's last name right, asshole. So let's just make sure I get that right before I start taking shots at his wrestling creative. You know what I mean? Come on now. Give me some time here.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All right, Jim Z. You think grilling season is over?
Almost, right?
No. Grilling season is never over because of a new sponsor of ours.
Ooh, what is it?
GrillYourAssOff.com.
I love the name already.
Yeah. It's a veteran-owned company that sells spices, barbecue sauces, cool swag, even cookbooks.
Oh, you know what? You sent me a link to that. I checked it out. That was awesome. They had some cool recipes right on their site. That was pretty awesome.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's for free. But Now that they're a sponsor, they've decided that if you use the promo code BACON, you get 10% off your order.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm ready. I'm definitely ordering some spices. They had a couple that looked really killer.
Yeah, and it's really, there's so many different selections that there's really a spice for everybody. The guys that are like heat heads, and even the people that just want something subtle, delicious, sweet, whatever it is, they've got something for everybody.
Awesome. Did we order any? Did we have any coming?
We've got some coming.
Nice.
And we're going to do some tasting episodes over on the Patreon.
Awesome. So
with
stick
a little
around.
bit of grill your ass off stuff.
Stick around, everyone, because once we get those in, we're going to taste them, we're going to go through them, and then we're going to let you know what we think and maybe give you some choices that we would kind of go for.
So once again, head over to grillyourassoff.com, use that promo code BACON, and get 10% off.
Sweet.
Hey, what's up? I'm Jeff from I Call Fives, and you're listening to Bacon is My Podcast.
That does make a lot of sense. Like,
absolutely.
I mean, we've tried to kind of slide some things in. You have to feel them out too, because like Eric, for sure, he's all about that, like, back and forth. He's totally cool with that. But there's definitely been guests that where we've kind of like slid things in, and you're like, anyway,
yes,
and you gotta pivot. You gotta pivot right away.
That.
Yeah, for sure. But you do a great job when you get slid in there. Yeah, I still listen.
The best thing is Mike Chioda. That's my favorite show, and it's my favorite show to do because I feel like I can be myself, because he and I have spent so much time together, not necessarily in person, but on the phone. We talk several times a week. Mike has just become a friend of mine, and we've built the relationship so that when we get on air, that's just me and Mike Chioda talking like we did 2 nights ago on the phone. Right. So when you get that kind of chemistry going, it's going to come out on the show. I had the opportunity to do 2 bonus podcasts with Tony that only his Patreon listeners get to do. And Tony will never work, has said this. I'm only working with you, Conrad, on my show. But Conrad was at the NWA event. Remember when he did the NWA pay-per-view?
Yeah.
And he was late. So Tony called, said, I need you. Can you do 2 bonus shows? And buddy, I had a great time with Tony. Again, I've known Tony for several years. Tony and I.
Well, you were one of his original patrons.
That's right.
First premium member. If
I was. So correctly. Tony and I clicked. We were cussing. I was giving him a hard time. I had Rebel come on the show and surprise him, and we were able to have some fun. So it really does help out when you start to build that relationship, I think.
That's awesome. Yeah, and Mike Chioda, man, I don't know why, but I have always, at every wrestling event, any WWE event I've ever gone to, I've always started a Mike Chioda chant.
Yes.
Every single time. And then I also, at WrestleMania 26, never forget it, I had a Mike Chioda sign. And people were like, why do you have a Mike Chioda sign? I'm like, because.
Why don't you?
Why? Because. Like, he's running the show here of, like, all these matches that you love. So why the fuck wouldn't I?
That's awesome. That's right. He's like, if you go back, I go back now and I'll watch wrestling. I'm like, holy shit, Mike Chioda roughed that match too.
Yeah, he's around for forever.
Refs are definitely the unsung heroes of all wrestling shows.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's got to call the times, make sure stuff's in the right place. It's a very.
They don't even say their names anymore though. Now they're the official.
No, they're not allowed.
Right, they're the official.
Well,
in some
AEW
places
does, right?
AEW does. You're right, but WWE no, the official.
Right. Yeah. Far be it anybody get over.
So you mentioned Rebel before. You're. You gonna do any happy hours with her? You start happy hour early or something today?
So no happy hour today. It's every other Sunday with her. We are coming up. November the 7th will be our 1-year anniversary of doing the happy hour with me, her, and Corey Ryan Forrester. But there is another one that, when her and Corey and I get on the show together, we're buds. We have a group text message that we talk a couple times throughout the week. But we've seen each other in person and hung out together. And again, man, I love Rebel. I just love her. She is not on TV enough, by the way, and I get upset about it. But her happy hours are so much fun. She's herself. She tells guys they can, suck an asshole. There's one guy that comes on and talks about Thunder Rosa and how he loves her, and she's like, I'm gonna beat your ass. I mean, it's just so fun. And she has guests on all the time. We've had Chelsea Green, we've had run-ins from, I mean, you name it, she's had people on.
And that's what's cool about the ad free experience is it's a very community like thing you guys have going on there.
Yep. And the AEW we did at Top Guy Weekend, we said, let's do Rebels karaoke night. And she got all into it. She's like, Paulie, what are we doing? I said, we're going to pick some songs and we're going to get some people to perform. And you and Tony Schiavone are going to have to invite some people. And by the end of that night, man, 3/4 of the AEW roster was behind stage and getting up on stage and singing with all of us for karaoke. It was fantastic.
What's your karaoke song?
I did Sir Mix-a-Lot, Baby Got Back.
Nice choice.
I like it.
I did that while Rebel danced on Will Hobbs while he sat on a chair, and she chair danced on Will Hobbs while I performed.
That's
unlike anything I've ever seen.
That sounds like the whole visual of that would be amazing.
Yeah,
it was incredible. It was incredible.
So what you're saying is it pays to be a top guy.
What I'm saying is nothing else. Come to be a top guy for Rebels karaoke events. My God,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Quick question. If you were doing a barbecue this weekend,
okay,
who's behind the grill? JR or Eric Bischoff?
Oh, Jim Ross. Oh, yeah. I love Jim Ross.
I know, because Eric is very into it. He's got the rec tech and he's starting to do little videos and stuff like that.
Yeah, he talked to us about how he smokes his meats.
Yes, he talked to us about that and how he sources them. And
listen, Eric's cool and he's a nice guy and he's very talkative and he's very intellectual, you know, about everything he wants to talk to you about. Jim Ross is going to make you crack the fuck up the entire time. He's going to drink with you. He's going to say some shit that's going to make you lose your mind laughing. And I just feel like I'd have such a fun time with Jim until he got mad at me and started ripping me. But I would have a blast with Jim Ross. He just doesn't give a shit anymore. He'll say whatever comes to his mind. He's got all the seasonings and the sauces and he's got it all there. And he'll probably have a few ladies over knowing Jim Ross.
I love Jim Ross.
Yeah, he's great.
Someday he's one of our he's one of my white whales.
Yes. If you can get Jim Ross, man, get him.
Someday.
One day, for sure. So you're from the Philly area?
So originally grew up outside in Maryland, born and raised in Maryland, and but was halfway between Philadelphia and Baltimore. And then in 2006, after married, had our first child, we moved out towards Reading, Pennsylvania. My wife's family is closer to this area, so we moved out this way and been here since 2006. So,
well, just like us, you're he wasn't really from the Northeast at that point, but
no,
we're in New York, so we're all in ECW country.
Oh yes.
So what channel did you used to try and watch it on? Because it was on public access here at like 2:30 a.m. on a Saturday.
Yep. So I worked at Acme Markets. You guys ever hear Acme grocery store chain back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So when I worked at Acme back in my 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old days, back when ECW was really popping, I had a guy that I worked with there that would record it on VCR tape and then bring the tapes into me at work, and I'd watch it on tapes.
That's awesome. It's a good ECW on demand, old school.
Yeah. And then he and I went to a couple shows. I've been to the ECW Arena. I saw it at the Big Kahuna in Wilmington, Delaware. There was a huge nightclub and bar, and we watched it there. And then Glasgow, Delaware High School, I saw a show there. Actually, our video had that on. I found it and I downloaded the DVD. I think I have it digitally, that show that I was at. But yeah, man, huge ECW guy right here in Northeast.
Yeah, for me, it was 3 in the. I was living in Indiana, so I was in Lafayette, Indiana.
Okay.
And it was like 3 in the morning on like public access there. And so I'd get up, and watch it, sit there, and try and keep everything low because I was at home.
Oh yeah, because you were definitely supposed to. Don't wake up the parents. Like, why are you watching this early?
Right.
I used to do that for Raw too. Like when it first started, it was when my parents finally trusted me with a TV in my room. But it started at 9 o'clock.
It's a big step.
Yeah.
I remember like the worst was I was watching Bret Hart versus 1-2-3 Kid.
Okay.
And I kept hearing footsteps. So I had the turn on and off with the little dial.
Yes, the dial.
And I was like, footsteps, and I'd run and I'd jump back and I'm like, okay, please don't end. And then I'd run back when I'd hear the steps go away.
Funny.
Yeah, that's some of my fond memories of watching wrestling as a kid.
Yeah.
That's great. So you got to see part of that match.
I got to see good, like 2/3 of it, but not like in sections. It was
You could have seen it again with
intermittent.
Darby Allin and Punk.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think what was cool for us though, having lived through the ECW, was that was the first time you actually saw like a brand that was on all TVs and people were taping and there was a buzz that actually then made it to pay-per-view and then made it to to national TV. Like we saw a wrestling brand kind of grow up in front of our eyes, and that was kind of the first time we ever saw something like that.
Yeah, it was exciting because you felt like it was yours.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. It's like that band, and they talk about this all the time. It's like that band that you just discovered, and it's like, these guys are awesome. They have like a couple of mediocre hits, and they never quite get there. But you're like, they're still mine. Like they're accessible.
That's what was cool too. You talk about some of the guys we worked with. They were doing that was Extreme on Ad Free for a little bit, and Joel Gertner and Blue Meanie were on that show with Josh Chernoff, and we would do a post show. And I'm sitting here like hosting it, like there's Blue Meanie, and I love Joel Gertner on the mic and some of his openings that he did.
Unbelievable.
And I'm just like, what is my life now? You know, those are some of the pinch me moments. Yes, the JRs and stuff, but Joel putting it in her till it's hurting her Gertner is right here in my face. This is great.
we had that same thing. We had one of our first guests that we ever had, because we started this and it was just us talking. We're both musicians and we're both in separate bands. We started writing together. And we were just like, oh, the first hour and a half, we just bullshit. So, and people were like, oh, I would love to be a fly on the wall. We're like, all right, you can be. And he just reached out to Mark Miro. And he said yes. And we were like, what?
Well, it was weird because I emailed him, and no less than like 15 minutes later, he's like, hey, what's your number?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then 10 minutes after that, I get a Florida number on my phone at work, and I'm like, this is not happening. Right. Like, not really.
He texted me, he's like, Mark Miro's texting me right now. And I was like, are you kidding me? What's happening?
I pick up the phone, he's like, hey Mike, it's Mark Miro. I'm like, hey, what? Really?
That's fantastic.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like it's really cool to get to cut it up with some of the people you grew up watching. And
yeah,
it's pinch me moments like that. It's like, really, Mark Miro?
Right.
Just
him. So cool. I mean, for sure, Eric Bischoff. Yeah, Eric Bischoff when he agreed to do it, I was like, what the what is happening?
Right.
Is this for real?
Yeah.
And then when he came on and said, I've been pinching myself all week for agreeing to do this fucking thing on Friday. That's when I was like, this is the reality that we're in.
Yeah.
This is the reality that we're in.
Buddy, I got to try to lock those guys down for bonus shows, and they're part of our network. You know how hard it is to lock them in just to do bonus shows for the month? So when you guys get stuff, get stuff done with them, that's a good thing, man. Trust me, because sometimes getting stuff scheduled with them just to do what they're supposed to do for us is tough enough.
I think it's because we have bacon in the name and just people like bacon.
Yeah.
I think that's all it is. People are like, huh? All right.
Plus, you do a really nice job of communicating. The emails and stuff that I got were first class as far as just the follow up and everything. So real nice job with that.
Thanks. Yeah. I have templates.
Yeah, you do a good job though.
Gmail and templates are pretty good.
You could teach some podcasters a thing or two.
Now, do you do a lot of guesting on podcasts? Like we heard. I don't even remember what the name was at this point now.
It was so good. You don't even remember. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, we've heard a few, but like
I don't remember who was interviewing you. I just remember you.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think. I've been on oh man, it's been a little while. Rajiv, there's a guy that's on ad-free shows. Rajiv, I've been on his show. I've been on some other podcasts. But yeah, I don't get a ton of requests, just things here and there. People, as they're starting to get familiar with me and the stuff that's going on with ad-free shows, have reached out. There's another show I'm doing next Friday, actually this coming Friday at 4. So I think as people and as Conrad starting to use me more, really with the main feed stuff. Ad-free shows is its own little world, but the exposure comes once I'm rolling out into these main shows.
Don't go away. We'll be back right after these messages.
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. And before we get into this week, if one episode just isn't enough for you and you need a little bit more Bacon Is My Podcast, head on over to patreon.com/ Bacon is My Podcast. Over there, you will get access to monthly live streams, discounts on merch, early and commercial-free access to Bacon is My Podcast episodes. Some of them are even extended surprise giveaways, additional shows, including Tasting is My Passion, and, of course, Cooking with Bacon is My Passion. And oh yeah, you get a crap ton of music. That's right, all of Jimmy and Mike's bands, previous, current, whatever it is, you'll get access to that music, demos, and much, much more. Just head on over to patreon.com/Bacon is My Podcast and learn what the hoopla is all about.
How do you feel about being a guest versus being a host?
I love guest. Guest is no pressure, man. I just get to come on and talk and answer whatever you throw at me, and that's easy. Host, you got to be able to, you know, it's one take, it's going to hundreds, in some cases, hundreds of thousands of people.
Right.
You have your show notes that you have to navigate, but also you never know what the host is going to say or what direction they're going to go. If it's a watch along, you're just worried, you're just making sure everything's prepped and ready for that. And two, you know, there's feedback. You've already heard what you suck at and what you're good at. And I don't necessarily try to concentrate on that too much, but I also want to make sure that if there are blatant things that I can do better at, sometimes it's just shutting up. You can tell that's hard for me to do, but sometimes when they're not there to hear me, they're there to hear the main guy. And even though I think I might have a nice point or something fun to add, I don't necessarily have to do that all the time. Sometimes it's me just being quiet and letting it breathe. But it's also hard to read because sometimes I think, well, I'm going to let this one breathe, but then they really don't have anything else to say. Right. And there's awkward silence. That happened a few times with Eric today. So there is ebbs and flows, and you're always trying to study the room with them as a host and make sure that there's good flow. So I definitely love being a guest. It's so easy.
Well, so with the Kurt Angle show.
Yes.
The Kurt Angle show, you get the hot tag, and
I'll be doing I do lots of Kurt Angle shows.
But this one in particular, you're talking with Edge too. So
that was in the closet too, by the way.
Navigate? Yeah. Oh yeah. How do you navigate something like that? Like, do you? I mean, for me, I would be like, I'm going to just let them talk. Like,
if you watch me, I have the dumbest smile on my face the entire show. I can't help it because it's like this is freaking Edge and Kurt Angle and me, the dimwit of the group. But the beautiful thing about Kurt Angle, and also sometimes the thing that really I think hurts the show, is Kurt really likes a script. He likes it completely typed out. Everything he says is thought out beforehand and typed out, and it's Kurt : his question, Paul : my question. Okay. So we have a script to follow. So for Kurt Angle, he's the only Conrad Thompson show. He's going to kick it off. It's the same. It's the same deal every time. Paul's my host, co-host. And first few shows, you couldn't even say Bromwell, but we got there. So you got it, got it going. I shouldn't do that. So then we got it going. And as we roll through the show, I just follow his lead. When he goes to his question, then the answer. Then I know it's my turn. Now, as I was going through that show, I was also told beforehand, Paulie, you got to make sure you're the one who has to make sure this goes at least 60 minutes. Okay. We have advertisers and things, has to hit 60 minutes.
Okay.
So that little bit of pressure is on me to say, man, I'm looking at the clock. How are we going? How are we trending? Because this has to go 60. So that's the only pressure there for me. So sometimes as the guy will answer a question, I know that Kurt knows my scripted question. So I have to build in a buffer, hurry up and think of a question to ask before my scripted, so that I can keep Kurt on that pace as he goes throughout.
Right, right.
So those are the little nuances as you go through a Kurt Angle show or whatever, like for him specifically, that I'll kind of do. John Bernthal, we had him on. Rey Mysterio, we did the show with Rey Mysterio. Same thing with Edge. So there were a few things I added to the Edge, like I asked him to go in a little deeper about Rey Mysterio. Or I mentioned a comment in there about, what about you and John Cena again? It was such a big match. You two were in there in the wrestling business again right now. Could you? And he said, well, never say never. Those were just things I added in and then kept going just to see if I could get a little bit more out of Edge, as I could see we needed to extend the episode. But his show are it's formulated. We know where we're going. My hope with Kurt is, again, if it's me and him, which we just recorded on Friday, his answers are long enough that we get to that hour.
Yeah, right.
Because once we're done the script, it's like where do we go next? We just went through the script in detail, and I don't think there's anything else we could absolutely cover about Bound for Glory and your main event match with Robert Roode.
Right.
See,
So is he good with like you said, putting some buffers in and stuff like that? Is he okay with you doing that? And
he is. He is. If I'll create dialogue, but I'm also very like trying to think, because Kurt also doesn't want to do anything, and I don't think he'd mind me saying this, but he doesn't want to do anything necessarily to rock the boat. He's a WWE guy, even to this day. He's not going to want to rock the boat. And I know people are wanting to listen for something that they can put in their news article or things like that.
They want their soundbite.
They want the clickbait, the soundbite, and I'm not necessarily going to get that out of him because he doesn't want to rattle cages. He doesn't want to. He like Eric, man. The first 30 minutes of the show that drops tomorrow, he goes off about Tony Khan running his mouth too much about AEW and should be smarter about talking about Ted Turner and stuff like that. That's going to have the internet buzzing. I didn't say anything. I just sat there and let him go. That's not that's not Kurt Angle.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just have to, you know, because like he was talking about Scott Steiner. I'm like, by the way, have you seen his son, Braun Breaker? My goodness, he's like the third Steiner brother. He's going to be awesome. Oh, really? Okay. Again, I could tell immediately he wasn't as familiar, so I can't go too much further with that with him.
Right.
So yeah,
I know for Eric, he goes a little bit more like in the beginning and at the end, maybe a little bit more on current stuff. But I feel like he doesn't do that too much. Is that something that he's gonna?
He's saying that people are picking up. He's saying that news sites are talking about his show more. I think if he does talk about current, so I think you'll see that weave in more.
It'll start coming in. Yeah.
I think like I talked about a Jericho match with him today from a Nitro we watched. And I was like, speaking of Jericho, what do you think about the Dan Lambert American Top Team deal?
Right.
Yeah.
So some of that stuff.
Dude, is Dan Lambert not just channeling Bobby Heenan for anybody else? Because
people love him or hate it or whatever.
I'm just
dude, he is a heat magnet.
Yeah.
I'm blown away. Like
he's great.
Heenan was my favorite like manager talker of all time. Like Heenan is just that guy for me. Always like me and a million other people. Right. And the very first time Lambert was talking in the ring, I was just getting those vibes, and I was like, I did not expect this guy to be this good.
Yeah,
like this is awesome. Like he's really good.
And now we got Junior DeSantos getting in the ring,
right,
which was definitely weird. Like I feel like they went, all right, buddy, you're gonna get in the ring. Just don't hurt anybody.
Don't punch too hard.
Right.
Yeah,
you can tell that. Yeah.
Like Jericho took a punch from Mickey Rourke, but I mean, just give him a rest.
but I tell you what, man, I watched. My son and I went to the AEW Dynamite in Philly at the Leacore Center. What was it? 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We could not hear Dan Lambert one word on the mic. They were booing so loud for him. And Jericho and Jake Hager were like, we can't even. They were looking at each other in the ring. We can't even hear him. And they were okay with it, but that's how much heat was being generated at Dan
I remember
Lambert.
Jericho even said it afterwards. He was like, I didn't hear a damn word you
Not a word.
said.
And he's true. We couldn't hear him one bit.
That's great.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want from a heel.
Yeah.
That's right.
And he's got a stable full of guys that need mouthpieces.
Well, and the AEW fan base so far is really good about being that vocal part.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're being given something to make noise about, and they're obliging. They're making all kinds of noise, which is awesome.
Hell yeah. You had something else you were going to say.
Well, no, you kind of, Paul, you kind of like were about to say something I saw, and we kept going.
No, I was just talking about how Eric just weaving in some of those. I think you'll see more of that kind of being weaved into his show, is some of that current event stuff. But yeah, Dan Lambert and what they're doing there is incredible. And I saw Paige Van Zant running her mouth a little bit. I'd love Thunder Rosa to come out and smack her around a little bit. We'll see what happens.
That'd be pretty cool. I mean, she needs to get herself into professional wrestling, because professional fighting is just not working out for her.
No,
she's getting her ass kicked.
It's not
all the time.
But she could do pro wrestling. You can tell she wants to talk smack and has the look and everything.
And she's got technique.
She's got
3 million Instagram followers. Come on.
Yeah. If that's not a vote of confidence for Tony Khan to get her working, I don't know what is.
For a wrestling group that needs as much eyes on their women's division or much help as they can get.
Agreed. Especially adding a secondary title.
Yeah.
For women. Yeah. You got to get depth. Put her in.
Get depth
better
and
see
star
more.
power. Throw her in.
We
Come
should
on.
see more of them per week now because
Oh yeah.
there's 2 titles.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we do have to pay some bills. One of those bills gets paid by Poddex.
Yeah.
They're a sponsor of ours.
Are you familiar with Poddex at all?
I'm not.
It's a pretty cool company. They are basically it is a deck of cards, not unlike Cards Against Humanity, with questions like interview questions, conversation starters, icebreakers, things like that. That are just kind of fun to do if you're a host or you're new into podcasting and you're having a hard time figuring out like how to come up with enough questions to fill an hour.
I need him for the Kurt Angle show.
It will help you
Okay.
if that's your case. Or, if you have verbal diarrhea like we do, you don't need it.
But they're also fun just to have in general. Like
Yeah.
I've said before, like I had them at home at Christmas time. That's when I got them delivered to me, and I was asking family members. And there's something that I would bring. I bartend. I'll bring them to the bar and give them to people that look like you should probably have better things to say. Like find people that are having a hard time talking and give them some stuff. And there's some fun questions in there. So we are going to let you pick a deck. We'll let you know what they are, and then we're going to randomly pick a question for you to answer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So the decks that you have to choose from are What the Heck, Interview Deck 1, Interview Deck 2, Would You Rather, and then we have 2 brand new decks that Jimmy just got. One's called the How Dare You deck. The other one is the What the Fuck deck, which we actually tried. We dropped it on the Patreon, but we're going to put it up on YouTube soon. We tried to have my kids ask us what the fuck questions.
Yes.
First one, I was like, nope.
Yep.
Different deck.
Shut it down.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I won't be asking that one then. What was the first one?
What the heck?
Yeah, let's go. What the heck?
All right.
Okay.
So Mike is going to shuffle up the cards, and I will tell everybody that is listening to go check out poddex.com, where you can find all these decks plus some sweet swag. They have T-shirts, they have stickers, all kinds of stuff. And if you use the promo code BACON, you can get 10% off your entire order. They're a very cool company, kind of a small company, but they're growing a lot. And man, like the owner will email you to thank you when you buy a deck.
Super cool dude.
They're very cool, very awesome. They have an app now in the App Store too, so you can actually have Poddex on your phone.
And again, if you're a starting podcaster, I can't tell you, he sends out weekly emails, and they have just really good tips. Some of it is just 101 kind of things, but sometimes you need to hear that again, where it's like, all right, well, this is obvious, but you know what? I'm not practicing.
I haven't thought about it in a while. Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to fan these out, and Paul, you can let us know when to stop.
I am going right to left, your left to right. You tell me when
Stop.
to stop. Right here. All right. All right. Paul Bromwell, has anyone started a rumor about you? And if so, what was it about?
What the heck? A rumor about me. Wow.
I heard a rumor that Paul isn't your real name.
Oh. I'd
Just
love
throwing that
to
one
hear
out
that
there.
rumor.
Eugene.
It's his
Yeah.
stage name.
Yeah, Bruce Prichard started that one. A rumor about me. Man, if they started it about me, I don't think it made its way back to me. That's for sure. I'd love to hear some juicy rumors about me. Man, nothing's coming to mind. Rumor has it. Ooh.
I like it.
Oh, classics.
I like it. So that's got to be a karaoke song now.
There you
right?
go.
Obviously.
Yeah.
That definitely has to be a karaoke.
Obviously.
Oh, man, nothing's coming to mind, guys. I'm terrible already.
Let's grab another
All right,
one.
we can grab
Okay,
another
yeah, try
one.
another one. Let's go.
Yeah, let's grab
We
another
got
one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go random now. Going
Okay.
rando.
Yeah.
What is the grossest thing you've ever seen someone do in public?
The grossest thing I've ever seen someone do in public.
Yes. Now, you've been to a lot of public events.
I have.
You've been around a lot of people that enjoy the occasional rib.
Oh, yeah.
I've been to a lot of wrestling conventions.
You've been to a lot of
Grossest
wrestling
thing. Grossest thing I've seen someone do in public. Gross.
It's subjective because what's gross to one might be tame and benign to another.
Yeah.
If you like, now listen, like, and you don't have to share, but do you automatically think of something when you think of that? Do you think of gross?
There's a few things.
I got a few.
Yeah.
Okay,
but you know what? We're around gross people, so
yeah. See, I'm trying to think. Gross.
One thing for me is the bat.
The bat.
The bat. I was at a party. Buddy of mine goes, "Hey," and I turned around. He was walking up the stairs, but he turned around and he had his ball sack stretched, so it looked like a bat.
Yeah, the bat wing.
Yeah, the bat wing.
The bat wing.
So that's pretty gross.
Yeah,
okay, that's gross.
That's gross.
I'm trying to think of if I've anything involving nudity.
See, that's the other thing is like we're also we're in bands, so we're like I've been in a van with the same 3 guys for a number of weeks, and they're gross.
Yeah,
lots of gross things. You know,
yeah. See, but this is something
I've seen a lot of peeing in Gatorade bottles and then forgetting about that Gatorade bottle and then picking it up and taking
people drinking
it by accident,
slurping it down.
I've seen that happen, and that's very gross.
Ah, man, I don't know. I mean, things that I've seen gross are typically have been on the internet, nothing in real life. That's the problem.
Right.
It's not a problem,
nothing's coming to my mind.
Se.
Like where I say, man, that was friggin' gross. I just
you've led a grossless life.
I lived a plain life, a pathetic life. I sit here in the room and do podcasts all the time. What's my problem?
Well,
you've got
a
a wide array of cool shit behind you.
Yeah.
I see a lot of action figures. I see a Hulk Hogan wrestling buddy.
Yeah.
Who's our hand? I see a foam hand, but I don't know.
That's let me see if I can reach it. Arn Anderson, 4 finger,
yes.
4 horsemen.
Excellent.
They gave that away at Top Guy Weekend.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
That is very awesome.
And then the other thing on there is the old Jeff Jarrett guitar.
I was going to ask what the guitar was too. Yeah.
Yep, Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett. Nice.
That's awesome.
See, we're finding out little things about you here. I see the Guns N' Roses T-shirt. We got a
Guns
Jeff
N'
Jarrett
Roses
guitar.
T-shirt. Yep, like in Guns N' Roses, Metallica. What else? What else? There's all kinds of stuff back here. That's my picture with the AEW actual world title belt at Full Gear. I stood on stage with that.
That's awesome. I saw that photo online too.
Oh yes, that is online. My life is online. What am I doing? The A-Team original toys with the original figures from the.
Is that what that is?
Second level down.
Nice.
All
That's
the A-Team.
awesome.
The AWA inmate world heavyweight belt from back in the day. With the original Remco figures.
Nice.
The very top picture is me as MJF's butler at a Starcast in Chicago when he made me do push-ups for him.
That's excellent.
So MJF is actually from a town about 10 minutes from me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we've seen some pretty awesome high school pictures and embarrassing stuff in the past few years since he's hit the big time.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely
I bet. Speaking of, have you seen any gross stuff? Because that could be my gross thing.
No.
I still can't believe I can't think of a gross thing. I'm really disappointed in myself. I'll think of it as soon as we're done this podcast.
You absolutely. Or like, we'll be 10 more minutes down, and you'll be like, "Oh, this gross shit happened."
Yeah, exactly.
So now that you're maybe not necessarily on the inside, but you've cracked that candy shell of the peanut M&M. Right.
Yep.
Do you
That's a good way to
wrestling differently?
I don't.
When you watch it?
I think because this is happening at the stage and age of my life that like if I was younger and this was all happening for me, most likely I would. But the fact that having grown up and listened to podcasts already and hear some of how things work, and so no, I don't think I've been super surprised. I think I've been to a lot of AEW shows and work with AEW people, and sometimes maybe hearing how, he or she doesn't like me. That kind of stuff is like, oh, it's the real world. It's like any other real job kind of stuff. So anything, like if you work for any company or whatever and drama, all that drama happens in wrestling, and
of course,
so, but nothing really, I think, really surprises me at this point, or has shocked me, or not appreciated. Like I can still go down and must watch television for me. and the WWE fans are going to hate me, is AEW wrestling, because I just enjoy the product. That's just what I like. I took my son to see WWE in Hershey, a live event, and I think it just felt more of like a Disney on Ice vibe. It's cool, and they're doing a story, and they're doing a nice show, and it's wrestling, but it has more of that flamboyant entertainment feel, whereas there's a little bit more rawness or edginess, and they like to say we're pro wrestlers. But you feel a difference in the vibe between both shows. So, and I'm attracted more to that.
You can definitely see it in the product, and I can imagine it's a similar thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's you know, to bring it back to music, you've got the Guns N' Roses shirt on. There's a difference between seeing Guns N' Roses like on the Sunset Strip, you know, back in '89, and seeing Guns N' Roses now with 900 members in the band. And
sure,
you know, there's that difference there. One is it's not that one's better than the other, but subjectively one is rawer, one is more
in your face, or
if that's the thing, and then one is more produced.
That's
one
right.
More
that's
like,
right.
You know,
that's right.
One's more scripted and produced, and
one's going to put more into the production value and the lights, graphics, and all that.
Yes.
And the other's going to be a little bit less into that and a little bit more into the action or the
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anything can happen type feel.
One of the reasons why I asked that question too is because you do X-Ray with Tom Prichard.
Yeah,
and
I love that show.
He breaks things down, and he really talks about the psychology and the way wrestling works. So like when you're watching it, does it change your view as a watcher?
Great question. Absolutely. You know what, we call him the doctor, but it is sitting under his learning tree. And as I sit there, and sometimes I just don't even want to talk because I'd rather just hear him talk about, and you see, Paul, what they're doing here is, and they're, and I'm like, man, that's right. This is exactly what's happening. Because there's so many times as you watch wrestling, you just sit there, or I have, and mindlessly just watch what happens next and watch what happens next without giving the thought to the psychology of why they're doing it.
Why does
Dr. Tom literally breaks it all down. So you're absolutely right. It's eye-opening to watch it with someone who's explaining it to you as you watch it. So yes.
Do you find you enjoy it more now that you have that perspective, or are you sometimes enjoying it less?
I think that I enjoy it. It hasn't changed my enjoyment level of it. I think that it really does show me there is a science to it. And it's just not two guys going out there whispering to each other and telling, hey, what's the next move? What's the next move? There's a science. There's a reason why they're doing what they're doing. It's not just listening to the crowd, but it's they are putting on a play. They are telling a story. You know, they use that word all the time, but it is a build. And whether it's they start off with the hip toss, arm drag, and into holding the arm, and they're going to start that slow burn where they build up and let the build happen. The whole thing is you're on a journey, and it's a story, and they're letting it breathe and build. And that's why Dr. Tom always talks about selling and letting things sell, and guys want to go right in the move to the next move to the next move, and we laugh about it. But those matches that'll go on for the rest of our lives as being some of the best ever were the ones where there was some selling going on, and they let the story kind of breathe. The Shawn Michaels, some of the classics that he was a part of with Undertaker at WrestleMania, or whoever you're a fan of that you love their matches. There is a science to it. There is storytelling to it, and there is thought put into it to make it happen. You guys joked around earlier about Steamboat Macho Man from WrestleMania 3.
Yeah.
That was one of the most scripted matches. But you know what they did when they sat down with pen and paper? They scripted it all out, and they had reasons as to why those moves were next and were next and were next. Yeah. Well, it'll make sense to do this next because you just came off of this, so we have to do this next. And when you get behind it and see it broken down that way, that's when you're like, wow, there's really something to this.
That's when it's done well. It's just awesome.
It is. That's why I'm a fan.
Exactly. It's one of the things I appreciate. You know, when we brought up Edge, is like just him talking about this current feud that he's doing
with Seth Rollins.
With Seth Rollins, going back to the 7 years ago interview where Seth didn't stomp him, and like bringing up things like that. And then in the matches, the stories that they're telling with why they're doing these moves, and how the second match they learned from the first match, and some of the things don't work. And I like, sometimes it feels like those kind of details are kind of overthoughts. And then when they're there, it's so awesome, because I think people do respond to them and they do recognize them. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm watching professional wrestling with any kind of magic eye. I think I'm Joe Average fan,
Right.
you know? So to think that the average fan isn't going to pick up on that and that isn't going to make it better for them, I think is ridiculous, because those things make the matches amazing.
And sometimes we're not even thinking about it as we watch it. We watch it and we're like, oh my goodness, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just absorb it and you're like,
just absorb it. Like,
you're like, I want to watch that again. You know? Like,
Recent match that I've wanted to watch again, and I have, Danielson Suzuki.
Oh yeah, I only saw it once, but it was crazy.
Come on, who gives that away on free on YouTube?
Right?
Like, are you kidding me?
Right.
I need to watch it again. I need to watch it again.
It's a good time.
I want to. Hey, listen, Danielson is putting on matches that are like best of DVD or best of Danielson matches since he got here.
Seriously, it's crazy.
Omega.
In one of my my group texts, there was a quote unquote hot take, and they said, even just given this year, like easily just from his AEW career, Danielson could probably be wrestler of the year.
Oh, absolutely,
yeah.
I mean, and then you're like, oh wait, he was in WrestleMania. He was the main event of WrestleMania this year. Like,
and if everything plays in this bracket like people think, he could end up in this challenge taking on Moxley at Full Gear.
Yeah,
because they're both on opposite sides of this tournament.
Yeah, that
hello,
looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, should be pretty amazing.
and heel Mox is starting to like rear his ugly head.
Yeah, Stone Cold John Moxley.
Always a fan of that.
Which I love, but I really loved John Moxley versus All of Japan.
I like that.
I really loved that angle they were kind of working with. It was just like, yeah, just if you're Japanese, I'm going to beat you up. I really wanted them to go full steam ahead with it, but I guess COVID restrictions. And stuff,
couldn't send them there.
I think that still could happen though. And hey, just I wait till one day till like Okada. I mean, do you think we'll see him wrestle somebody in AEW at some point?
I
hope so.
I think we will.
How could we
not? How could we not?
I agree. Has to happen, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think the big thing has always been Okada. What else can he do in New Japan?
Yeah,
and it's
bring him over, baby.
Not a whole lot, but if there's a forbidden door, So before AEW, everybody was like, "Oh well, obviously the next step is WWE."
No.
Well,
yeah.
Have him take on Omega, Danielson. Come on, let's do it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I imagine Omega versus Okada on American soil.
And then, next pay-per-view, Danielson, Okada.
Yeah.
Is there any other wrestler for you guys that makes you cringe as much as Danielson whenever you see a shot to the head?
I'm telling you that Suzuki shot.
I watched that Suzuki
last
match
night,
and I was like, oh no.
A couple nights ago.
I'm going to have to watch it again. You guys talked me into it. I got to watch it again.
Oh, Suzuki just gave him this forearm where you're just like, no, don't do that. I think
his brain is not good.
I think this match made me cringe more than him versus Brock at Survivor Series.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he just
and that Brock match. I was like, he just got back. Don't kill him.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
For sure.
It's like, Brian, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Well, he keeps saying that it was really WWE's thing, that he was okay, but he was lying about his concussions. So it was kind of being reprimanded, like, hey, we can't trust you. It was a trust thing. He's saying.
And I'm sure he's getting checked out now every chance that he gets. I'm
sure he is too.
Yeah.
Well, his schedule's a lot lighter. So he's
not
doing those things once every
on
couple
house
of weeks
shows
or once a week. Yeah.
House shows is
5 times a
killer.
Week,
doing those loops and stuff. And what I like about AEW too is they let the young guys do their loops. They let Mox will do the Game Changer Wrestling's.
Mox was just advertised for New Japan show here this past weekend in Philly.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Buddy Matthews or Buddy Murphy.
Right.
He was also just advertised today. He's doing New Japan. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
I think,
he's awesome.
A lot of people were like, he could go
see him show up somewhere.
He could go to Impact, and I've always been down on Impact. They've gotten much better in recent years, but like I think him going to New Japan is a home run.
They need a better TV. Well, I think it's coming. There's rumor about a better TV deal, but these little zones and stuff, like for a TV show, I know they're in that little kind of impact zone, whatever they call it. They need a little some kind of arena, something that shows a little bit more. Like I was watching, because Kurt Angle, we were watching the Leah Core Center Bound for Glory 2011, and it was in Philadelphia, and I'm like, dude, that actually felt like a pay-per-view. It wasn't again in the impact zone again, which is like, how many shows are we going to watch in the impact zone? Nothing against the impact zone, but it had lost its impact, buddy. Okay. Right. Something that feels like a real pay-per-view.
I mean, you think about the old NXT and you think of their original setup at Full Sail. That I never had an issue with. But the impact zone was very much a TV studio. Yeah. And they made it, you know, Universal Studios, whatever, or the Asylum days, that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's like old WCW Saturday night
wrestling.
You know what I mean?
But NXT, the NXT pay-per-views, those would be before the Rumbles. Those were massive pay-per-view, loud crowds,
definitely look like bigger things.
Yeah,
it was a different energy.
But yeah, the current Impact stuff, they've got, you know, 20, 30, 40 people in the crowd. And it looks like they have 20, 30, 40 people in the crowd. Looks like one of our shows.
I need to feel it. I need to feel it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
You love your weekly dose of bacon as my podcast, but you need even more bacon. Well, just go over to baconismypodcast.com. You can engage even more with us over there. It's a pathway to our music, extra content, our social media pages. Most importantly, grab yourself some pretty sweet swag and put it all over your body parts. Again, that's baconismypodcast.com. Listen to some tunes, pick up some merch, and tell us, what's your bacon?
Hey, what's up, everybody? WWE Hall of Famer, the Godfather here, and you've been consuming Bacon Is My Podcast.
So, Paul, I always love to ask, we could sit here and talk about wrestling all day because we're all huge wrestling fans. And people can hear you talk about wrestling like several times a day.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, what is something that not enough people ask you about, that you're passionate about, that you dig, that you would love to talk more about, but nobody ever asks?
Wow. What else am I into?
What's that other thing? Are you a gamer? Do you go to concerts? Are you?
Yeah, good question. I am I'm not a gamer. Okay. So I'm not that, but I do love music. I'm a big music fan, although I feel like anymore I'm like always listening to podcasts. But on my free time, I end up getting myself wrapped up into all kinds of true crime stuff. I'm a true crime nerd. I've watched so many series and TV shows on the Discovery Plus app. I've watched more true crime series right now. I'm watching why do I always it's why am I skipping out on the title? So you think you can see? No, what is it? Shoot, I'm going to find it right now while I'm talking to you guys because I'm not. But I'm watching a true crime series. I'm in the season 3, and I got to tell you about it, guys, because I love it. And I
love true crime too. Like I'll listen to podcasts about it. I also I get into some of the old ones too. Like I love the H.H. Holmes documentary. I like the a lot of serial killer type stuff. I like the way that they go through the documentaries and how they solve those crimes. I just was watching something on Amazon, and the name's escaping me now too, but it's about this guy that was a convicted rapist at a college, and they discovered that he was one of the first cases where they discovered he was multiple personality.
Yeah, that was on Netflix. I watched
Netflix.
The miniseries.
I'm about halfway through it right now. And it's fascinating just to see all that and be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's called See No Evil. Okay.
See No Evil.
Okay.
Yeah.
See No Evil. And it's basically where they take camera footage and pull it all together and are solving crimes from this camera footage. So literally there's one episode, I won't give the spoilers in case somebody watches it, but it was around 3 girls, teenage girls. They loved to hang out, always went out, had a good time. And the parents knew they were having a problem with one of the daughters. and that she would jump out her window, and sometimes around 11:15 at night, her and these other two girls would go out and they'd just go for a joyride. So on one of these evenings, the two girls went out. She jumped out of her window, went with them. They went on a joyride. They came back. They dropped her back off at the house. They said, we dropped her off at the end of the block. She said she wanted to walk home. Well, the next day the parents woke up. She was nowhere to be found. The girl was not in her bedroom, not there at all. Well, they went to review the camera footage above the apartment complex, and they saw that about an hour later, she had climbed back out her window and ran over and jumped into somebody else's car. Guys, let me just tell you that I watched the rest of that episode, and I could not believe the ending of what happened to that girl and whose car that was.
Oh man.
It is See No Evil. It's season 1. It's I think episode 6, but I'm just telling you that I can't stop watching it. And from about 9:30 at night till about midnight or 12:30, I will go on and I'll watch shows left and right, whether it's a crime show or whatever. When I'm done one, I'll research, find out what was the next one. And all I do is I'll sit, and I've been addicted to true crime for about 2 years now. And it's probably scary. It's probably a little scary.
You know what? Honestly, I just
told you how much I watch serial killer shows. So.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we do the same thing. We see the next thing. Another fun one that I like is Evil Lives Here.
Yes. Okay. I've heard of that one. Yeah.
So there's Evil Lives Here, and then there's another one, something Darkness. There's an offshoot one. That one actually is better than the original, because what they do is, besides having somebody that was there,
Evil Lives Here. Yep.
They actually have 3 or 4 people involved in the cases. So they'll have the detective, they'll have a friend, they'll have the victim's family, and they'll have somebody who lived with them.
Okay.
And everybody's stories, the way they all converge is wow, this is just well done. And they don't tell you, Evil Lives Here too. They don't tell you what happened, what actually happens at the beginning. They make you wait it out to see what they actually did. It's badass. It's cool. The way they position it and shoot the show. It's badass.
The other one that I'll recommend to you guys is called Homicide Hunter, and it's all about a detective who lived in Denver, Colorado, outside, named Joe Kenda.
Yes, sir.
And he solved close to 400 homicides during his career. Wow. And it's several seasons long, but every episode he walks you through. He's third person in an interview room, and they kind of do the script out the whole deal, but he walks you through all the homicides and how he was able to figure out and close out the case.
Next time, so a buddy of ours,
I'll definitely check that out.
A buddy of ours, next time you're at Johnny's house, he actually, a friend of ours has a Joe Kenda bobblehead.
Nice. Love Joe Kenda, man.
I was there for a wrestling pay-per-view, and out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, is that Joe Kenda? And he's like, hell yeah, it is. I was like, I can't believe that's a thing. I can't believe I'm not the only one who watches it.
That's amazing.
It's great.
So I'm huge into true crime right now. Not right now. It's been a long time, right before the pandemic. I love that stuff. I'm a huge sports guy. Love the Steelers, even though they're not doing so hot this year. We need a new quarterback. Big Pittsburgh sports fan, mostly Steelers, and what's wrong with my mic? But Steelers guy, and as well as Pittsburgh Pirates and Penguins. What else am I passion to? I like a lot of pop culture and 80s stuff. I was a child of the 80s, so one of the first podcasts I ever kind of put together and was a part of was a show called Saved by the Pod, and the shows are still out there. I did it with 2 other buddies, and we would take a wrestling event, pick an old pay-per-view, and then we'd wrap and we'd cover off all the pop culture that happened around that wrestling event. So in 1988, if Clash of the Champions we were covering, we'd talk about Back to the Future was #1, and we'd give a little what we liked about it. And Guns N' Roses came out with Welcome to the Jungle, and it was and we would cover it, and we'd play little bits of the music and sound clips of the movies, and then we'd get into the wrestling card and review it. So sometimes I'll go back and watch a whole series from the 80s, the sitcoms or TV shows or something like that. And my son has kind of liked to do that with me, where maybe we'll sit down and binge watch something old retro style. But yeah, so that's kind of fun too.
That's awesome.
Well, yeah, that goes with the A-Team stuff in the back.
That's right, the A-Team stuff. And in the middle there, I got my A-Team classic lunchbox, the Fall Guy, and then Knight Rider at the top.
I had noticed the A-Team lunchbox, obviously, because I could totally see the A, but I didn't know that was a Knight Rider up top. Man, Knight Rider, I love that show.
Yeah.
I love that show. And I also think underrated show, Street Hawk.
Street Hawk. Dude, you're my guy. I love Street Hawk. I watched the whole
show.
One season. I just watched the whole thing about 2 years ago again. And that's the metal lunchbox I'd love to add to my collection is Street Hawk.
Man, that was so cool. It was like dude on a motorcycle, very ninja-like too. It was awesome.
It's Knight Rider with a motorcycle.
Yeah, Knight Rider.
That's amazing.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
somebody got a Street Hawk reference. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm your guy. It's 80s. If it's 80s related, I'm there, man. So that's a little bit more about me. Sports, wrestling, 80s, pop culture, true crime, and just a lovable guy. So there you go.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree. So what have we learned here? We've learned that 80s pop culture is obviously his wrestling.
Awesome. Is also his bacon.
Music is his bacon.
Yeah, love music, all kinds.
Wrestling.
Definitely his bacon.
His bacon. Brings up his kids a lot.
Yeah.
I like
Family
my
is
kids.
his bacon.
Yeah.
That's really what we're trying to do in the podcast. Our whole "What's your bacon" thing is just about bacon makes everything better. So what's the thing in your life that makes your life better?
That's cool. I like it. I love the
That's your
concept.
bacon.
Yeah.
So yeah, finding all that out is very cool. So thank you for sharing
Absolutely.
your bacon with us, Mr. Paul Bromwell. Thank you for sharing your time with us.
Yeah.
That's my
thank
pleasure.
you for hanging out with us.
Marathon days. So we normally do 2 on a day. So we're going to be doing another episode after this.
Okay.
And so I know what it's like.
3
You've
today.
done 3 today. So
I'm taking a rest the rest of
hats
the night.
off to you, sir.
Thank you.
Don't talk anymore.
Yeah,
we'll
I'm
be
done.
doing we'll be doing some of our Patreon stuff. So for all you listeners, patreon.com, bacon is my podcast.
Yes.
Watch us eat terrible tasting things or cook things or things like that, because we also do that over there.
Yeah.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you so much for having me on. This was a blast.
No,
thank you, man.
you.
It was a blast for
Let
us,
everybody
too.
know where they could find you and all things ad-free
Give them the
shows.
rundown again.
Sure. So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Paulie Bewell. So PAULYBWELL on both social media platforms. And then you can find me at Ad Free Shows, helping out the Podfather himself. And I work with Mike Chioda on the Monday Morning Mailbag, X-Ray with Dr. Tom Prichard, Rebels Happy Hour, and whatever else Conrad needs me to do, filling in for some of the shows. I host all the bonus shows at this point. So whenever Kurt or Arn or JR, if you're a member at Ad Free Shows, part of their deal is they have to do a bonus show. They do a bonus show every month for the members over there, and I host those as well. And then when Conrad decides it's time for the beach or it's time for a little vacay or a little downtime, he gives me the hot tag, and I come in and I spin a little bit, and I get lit up on social media and have some fun with it. So it's a good time,
fire, sir. House of fire.
It's a good time, brother.
Heat-seeking missiles.
That's right.
That's it.
Well, Paul, aka John, aka Levi, aka Gabriel. Thank you once again for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Hopefully you come back. You're always welcome here. Anytime you want to jump on and talk about wrestling or anything else, or if you got something to promote ever, if you want to just come on and promote ad-free, feel free to do so.
Or just have a drink.
Or just have a drink with us.
Sounds good, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Everybody, thanks for listening and for watching.
Yes.
Ask yourself every day,
always,
what's your bacon? Street Hawk.
What?
I was able to bring a Street Hawk reference.
Yeah.
into a podcast.
Yeah, that puzzled me for a second.
Dude, when I was a little baby chillin', I had a Street Hawk toy that my parents got me because I was into ninjas.
Yeah.
And then I found the show at one point and was like, this show is awesome.
Yeah. Well, Paulie Bromwell, he knows your stuff.
With me.
He was all about it. He loves it. So
he lit up, man. He lit up. I was like, yes, me and you, Street Hawk.
Yeah.
Marathon, watch along.
Ooh. Have fun with that.
It's probably so terrible now, but it's
nostalgia.
But it's terrible like Knight Rider's terrible.
It's nostalgia.
And awesome at the same time.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And it's the Hoff. The Hoff is awesome.
Well, the Hoff's not on
No,
Street
he's
Hawk,
not on
though.
Street Hawk, but
so
imagine if there was a crossover episode.
There always should have been. I always thought there should have been.
It's too bad.
Yeah. They missed an opportunity. There's always time for the reboots.
You don't want a reboot.
No.
Nobody wants a reboot.
No.
So
anyway,
that was a lot of fun. Hanging out, talking to Paul, picking his brain a little bit about the ad-free show stuff.
Yeah.
About how he handles the, hey, you're just going to, no problem. You're just going to co-host a show and Edge is going to be on.
Right.
No problem.
Right.
What?
Hey, tomorrow morning you've got Jim Ross.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
I mean, for some of ours, I mean, I guess the Eric Bischoff one took about a week, but even then it was like, huh?
I was like, what?
I almost wish it was like the night before that I found out, because then
I don't.
It would have been a lot easier.
It might have been easier, but I did a lot of.
You did a lot of research
trying to find research on there, but
yeah,
of
and
which
we
I
used none of it.
None.
We used none of it.
I used none. I do far less research now. Research. Now it's me. Yeah. Why can't I talk now?
Year two.
So now you're.
I'm turning over new
foods.
I'm turning over new leaf. I'm gonna make funnier faces and make funnier reactions to shit I eat.
You try and hold it in.
And he's gonna talk like an idiot.
Yeah.
Not me.
No, we're switching places.
Trading places.
Yeah.
So yeah, once again, please make sure to go to baconismypodcast.com. We have shirts. We have
cool shirts.
Links to all of our sponsors. We have all of our episodes.
Yeah.
We have all the links to all of our episodes.
Yeah.
Visual, audio, whatever platform you prefer.
It's all there.
Jim, where can people find you on the social medias?
You can find me specifically at Jimmy G Shoes on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me on the Facebooks as well. And my band Craving Strange is at cravingstrange.net. If you go there, cravingstrange.net, there are links to us everywhere. So you can find us everywhere. And of course, you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, all those things, where you can also catch episodes of the podcast. Give us those 5-star reviews.
Bing.
How about you? Where can I find
me? Personally, you can catch me at my own self, Mike, on all the socials, the Instagrams, the Twitters, and the Facebooks. My band, Something Heavy, has a new single out called Surface.
Nice.
You can catch that on all streaming platforms. And you can catch us at Something Heavy Music across the board. And you already said Bacon is my pod.
I did.
Yeah. So I'm done. I've had it.
I'm also done. You want to have a drink and we'll get out of here?
We're gonna get out of here.
We're gonna get out of here. So thanks for hanging with us, and come back next time
for another riveting,
thrilling
edition of
Bacon.
Bacon
is
my
podcast.
See ya.
What's your bacon?